The mansion gates slammed shut. A young man in torn clothes stumbled out, clutching a backpack that wasn't even his. The guards looked away as the dust settled. Moments later, a sleek black car pulled up and outstepped a man in a tailored suit, his eyes freezing in disbelief. It was the millionaire himself, Richard Collins. And the boy being thrown out of his own house was his son. The camera zooms in on Richard's trembling hands, his face pale as marble. What did you just do to him?" he asked, his voice shaking. The butler stammered, "Yes, sir, we thought he was a..." Richard's next words silenced everyone. "You thought he was a servant?" And that's when the story takes a turn no one saw coming. Ethan Collins was the only son of billionaire businessman Richard Collins, a man known for his empire of luxury hotels and his obsession with class, etiquette, and appearances. But Ethan was different. Where his father saw status, Ethan saw people. He had grown up in privilege, yes, but also in emptiness. Every smile around him felt rehearsed, every compliment bought. The servants bowed, but not because they cared, only because they were paid to. And that truth ate away at him. One day, after a heated argument about understanding real life, Ethan decided to prove a point. Without telling anyone, not even his father, he disguised himself as an ordinary servant. He wore simple clothes, took a small job at one of his father's hotels, and began working among the staff who had always treated him with false respect. At first, it was humiliating. He cleaned floors, carried luggage, and faced insults from supervisors who once smiled at him in expensive suits. But slowly, Ethan began to understand something powerful: the value of hard work, kindness, and humility. He started helping the older workers carry heavy trays, shared his lunch with the struggling dishwasher, and even fixed a broken window in the kitchen when no one else cared. To the others, he was just Ethan, the new helper. But what changed him forever was Maria, an older housekeeper who treated him like her own son. She noticed his bruised hands, his tired eyes, and told him softly one night, "Son, no one here cares about your clothes or your name. The only thing that makes a man rich is his heart." Those words struck him deeper than anything his father had ever said. For 3 weeks, Ethan lived like that, quietly learning the lives of those his family never saw. Until one fateful afternoon, he returned home still dressed in his servant uniform. That's when it happened. The new head butler, not recognizing him, ordered the guards to kick him out for trespassing. They threw him into the dust right as his father's car arrived. And when Richard saw the bruised, dirt-covered boy on the ground, realization struck like lightning: the same brown eyes, the same trembling voice. It was his son. For the first time in years, Richard Collins couldn't speak. His world, built on pride, money, and image, shattered before him. He rushed forward, lifting Ethan to his feet. "Ethan, my God, what happened?" The guards froze, realizing their mistake. But Ethan didn't speak. He simply looked at his father, the man who never understood what it meant to live without luxury. "Now you see, Dad," he whispered. "This is how people live under your name, the people who make your success possible." That night, Richard sat alone in his study. The words echoed again and again. He looked around at the marble floors, the gold chandeliers, the portraits of power, and for the first time, they meant nothing. He called Maria, the housekeeper Ethan had befriended. She told him everything: how Ethan worked, how he treated others, how he never mentioned being rich. Richard listened in silence, tears forming in his eyes. The next morning, he made a decision that would shake his entire empire. He gathered all his hotel staff, from janitors to managers, and stood before them: no suit, no microphone, no arrogance. Just a father trying to make things right. "I failed as a man," Richard began, his voice trembling. "I taught my son to build wealth, not to build worth. But he taught me something far greater: that respect cannot be bought, and humility is the foundation of greatness." He raised his hand. "From today, every employee under my company will receive better pay, medical care, and opportunities for education. Because my success means nothing if the people who build it suffer." The staff were stunned, some cried, some clapped. Ethan watched from the back of the room, proud but silent. After the meeting, Richard walked up to him and said, "I always wanted to make you proud, son. Turns out, it was you who made me a better man." Ethan smiled faintly. Then we both learned something money could never buy. Clapperboard closing scene, emotional ending. Months later, Richard and Ethan opened a charity foundation together, the Maria Foundation, named after the humble housekeeper who inspired their change. As the camera pans out, the two stand side by side at the opening ceremony, handing keys of new homes to struggling workers. Richard's final narration echoes softly. "We often build walls to protect our pride, forgetting that the strongest bond between hearts is compassion. My son lost everything to teach me that truth, and that loss made us richer than ever before."